Morally, I was led to nonviolence because I felt that it was the best moral way to deal with the problem. We were seeking to establish a just society, and it was my morally. I was led to nonviolence because I felt that it was the best moral way to deal with the problem. We were seeking to establish a just society. And it was my feeling then, and it is my feeling now, that violence is certainly much more socially destructive, and it creates many more social problems than it solves. So I was led to nonviolence for deep moral reasons. And I turned to it because I felt that it was the morally excellent way to deal with the problem of racial injustice in our country.
There is no freedom, the wise man said, let justice roll down when the poor cry out for shelter and bread. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary? Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Hatred will never drive out hate. Let love roll down, roll down. Remember, our hearts can make us great. Let love roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. And let your love roll down like a mighty stream. When brutality threatens our daughters and sons, let peace roll down, roll down. May our voices rise up louder than the guns. Let peace roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. And let peace roll down like a mighty stream. Step by step, one by one, let justice roll down, roll down. They can kill the prophet, but the dream lives on. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way.
because I felt that it was the morally excellent way to deal with the problem of racial injustice in our country.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come, 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 whoever you are, condemn, worshipper, lover you're leaving, ours is no worshipper, lover is leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, lover you are, condemn, worshipper, lover you're leaving, ours is no worshipper, lover is leaving. Come yet again, come.
Barbara, you're muted.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. It's great to know that some of you are there, and I hope that you will participate in the chat as you go along in Facebook and interact with one another. We're still so missing being together in person, but it gets closer all the time. In this congregation of covenant rather than creed, we come together in our promises of how we will behave with one another and try to live into being in the world rather than around what we think about spiritual matters or even ultimate things other than being respectful to others and caring for the web of life around us is important. Those things kind of seem essential in our number. If you have different views, you can express those too. We come together in an effort to remind ourselves of our higher natures and the call that is our individual calling from life. And we hope this time will give you an opportunity to catch your breath. Happy America's birthday. With all of the complex feelings and cognitive dissonance that may go with that. Anyway, I would like to invite one of our board members, Amanda Lawrence, to share with us.
Good morning. Thank you for that fun transition sound. My name is Amanda Lawrence. I'm a member of the board and I have a few announcements to share with y'all. First of all, I've got 2 opportunities for us at All Souls to help our community at large. One of them is our Giveaway the Plate recipient for July, which is Shreveport Green. Shreveport Green is working to create in Shreveport a clean, green, physically enhanced community whose citizens exhibit a strong sense of pride and concern about the environment. We've decided that that is well in keeping with our UU values, and so they are our Giveaway the Plate recipient for July. If you'd like to contribute, you can go online to the All Souls donation page and choose collection plate from the pull down menu. You can also send a check to the church. And I suspect that our digital assistant, Steve Caldwell, is putting those details in the Facebook chat right now. The other way that we can help our community is with the Highland Blessing Dinners. These are in person now, and they're needing volunteers. This is Thursday night at the Highland Center at 520 Olive Street. Officially, All Souls is co-hosting on the first Thursday of the month, but hosts are welcome anytime. There are some specific guidelines in place for COVID safety still, so make sure that you're aware of those. You need to show proof of full vaccination on the first visit. Once you've done that, you don't have to be masked as adults. Gloves are provided, but you need to bring your own mask, especially if you're a server. There are also ways for you to connect with each other. The first one is Sunday after the worship service is the virtual coffee hour hosted by Bennett Upton. On Monday night, Reverend Barbara has her Zoom pod group. On Wednesdays, there are Zoom lunches, and Friday nights at 10 p.m. is late night at the Salty Chalice. Again, I suspect that Steve is sharing contact information about that as we speak. The last possibility is, as more of our members are becoming fully vaccinated and are comfortable meeting in person, Kathy Osuch is coordinating small group gatherings. So if you will get in touch with her, if that's a thing you're interested in, and let her know what your sort of requirements and restrictions are. We're excited to meet with you however works best for you, and looking forward to all coming together again sometime in the future.
Thanks, Reverend Barbara, and good morning. I'm Susan Caldwell, and I'm the Director of Religious Education for All Souls, and I'm really happy that all of you are hanging in there with us, and apologies for some little internet glitches we've had this morning, but we hope those have dissipated. Amanda covered most everything. I would just add that we are continuing with our adult religious education on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock. We have just finished White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo, and we are looking at other possibilities to whether we read a book or do some kind of a study coming up. People are suggesting all kinds of resources. We have a Slack channel we can put you on to be a part of that conversation. But meanwhile, if you show up on Sunday morning at 9 on Zoom, and the link goes out in your weekly email, and if you need the weekly emails, put that in the Facebook comments too. But we are right now watching a video from Ibram X. Kendi, who's the author of Stamped from the Beginning and also How to Be an Anti-Racist. And we've been watching and discussing that, and we'll finish that one up this week as we talk some more about where we go from here. So I believe, pass it. Oh, I'm passing it on to Melissa Lewis, who is going to tell us about the food pantry collection this afternoon.
I'm going to assume that I'm on there. Yes, Brittany, I'm on there. Hi, my name is Melissa Lewis. Today is Food Pantry Day from 2 to 4 at the church. I think the weather's going to be pleasant. And come see me. This month's request are cereals, whether they're big cereals or the little small packet cereals, and canned vegetables, any kind. Anyway, I'll be there today at the church 2 to 4. Hope somebody will come by and see me. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Miss Susan, were you through with your announcements? Okay, that's great. Well, as I mentioned before, if you will let your shoulders fall away from your ears and take a couple of deep breaths, relax into being here, catch your breath. Remember that self-care is important. From Paul Robeson, I shall take my voice wherever there are those who want to hear the melody of freedom or the words that might inspire hope and courage in the face of despair and fear. My weapons are peaceful, for it is only by peace that peace can be attained. The song of freedom must prevail. From Eric Walker Wickstrom, we come together this morning because within us there is something that knows we need more than we can find in our aloneness. We know instinctively in the depths of ourselves that we need others for this journey of life, even though we also guard our independence and individuality quite jealously. So let us celebrate all that makes us unique, yet also all that makes us one. And let us dream dreams of all that we can do together. This is from Jessica Purple Rodella. Listen. Listen to the silence. Listen to the wind. Listen to the stars. Hear trees. Dance to the beat of your neighbor's heart. Dance to the rhythm of your childhood dreams. Sing. Sing and hum a wordless song to the tune of your rushing blood. And pray. Pray with a fever that makes you sweat through February snow. Pray with a fervor that gives you chills in July. Shout your prayer like a howl. Howl till the sound of your soul touches clouds and haunts the moon. Come, let us howl our hallelujahs. Come, let us pray and sing and celebrate. Come, let us worship together. Our children's chalice lighting this morning is led by Ava Kate Peck.
Hi, my name is Ava, and I'm going to be saying the chalice lighting today. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the Church of the Open Mind. This is the Church of the Helping Hands. This is the Church of the Loving Heart.
Thank you, Ava Kate. In this free church, we come together without creed, focusing instead on the core values of justice, equity, and compassion, of mutual acceptance of our diverse ways of being as we seek to connect ourselves more fully with the unfolding truths of life and of our world. We come together in shared conviction that all people deserve a voice in matters that concern them, and that it is up to each of us to protect the rights of all, particularly those who, for whatever reason, have long been held in silence. We come together in the stubborn belief that community is possible and that peace is more than a dream. We commit together to affirm in our actions as well as our words the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. We come together in awareness of our interdependence with all humanity and with the wider web of existence. For that too is part of what is meant by we. In this free church, we come together without creed, believing that the way we live in the world bears testament to the value of our beliefs. We light this chalice as a beacon of hope for who have gathered here this day, for all who have ever shared spaces with us, for those who may yet find this their spiritual home, and for those whose paths will never come our way. For all this, and for all those things we dare to hope and dream, we kindle our chalice flame of freedom and unity this day. Our unison affirmation will be led by Susan Yellett. You're muted, Susan.
Sorry about that, folks. The unison affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus we do covenant with each other.
Thank you so much. I hope each of you said it along with us. It's important that we internalize those words in some sort of palpable way. Our song this morning is a traditional African American folk song. Please sing with me. Pick. Maybe not. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my sister, come and go with me. I asked my brother, come and go with me. I asked my siblings, come and go with me. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, I won't turn back. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way, on my way to freedom land.
Good morning. Say that it's about lunchtime, which it's, getting to be, and you're hungry. And you are especially hungry for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Or maybe you're allergic to peanuts, so you're hungry for an almond butter and jelly sandwich or sunflower butter and jelly sandwich. Or maybe you need to go gluten-free, so you have rice flour bread and maybe a sugar-free fruit spread because you're trying to cut down on sugar. All of those things count. All of those things are great. Please substitute as necessary in your mind or on your plate. But for our purposes in this moment, this lunch will be known as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And young or old, child or grown-up, you are an independent person who knows how to make this peanut butter and jelly sandwich all by yourself. Or do you? So you need some peanut butter in there, right? And so maybe you or your parent or someone had to go to the store for that, right? And so there were people working in the store who sold you the peanut butter. Maybe they ran the cash register, or maybe they had to come and help you fix a problem at that do-it-yourself line where the little robot lady's voice says, "Help is on the way." But either way, before then, there were workers who stocked the shelves with the peanut butter and maybe answered your questions about peanut butter, if you had any. And let's remember that these very important people have worked straight through the pandemic, putting themselves in danger to keep us fed. Even when certain foods were in short supply, they were there and probably not getting paid nearly enough for that. So that's something we ought to think about. Anyway, there were workers in the store who unloaded the peanut butter. And before that, there was a truck driver who drove the peanut butter there. And before that, there was a truck driving school where somebody trained the truck driver who drove the peanut butter there. And before that, there was a factory where the truck was made and a factory where the parts of the truck were made, etc., etc. And there were workers in all those places. And that's not even including all the clothes that all these people were wearing and the people at the various factories who made them. And that's just for the one truck. Not to mention, the parents who raised all these people and generations going back. And then there's another truck with another driver that picked up the peanut butter from the place where the workers had made it, and another truck and another driver that took the peanuts from the farm where they were grown. And there were people there that ran machinery to irrigate them. And everybody in all of those places had to eat food that was grown or raised or prepared by somebody else in order to do their jobs that got all the trucks to the places they were going to bring you the peanut butter. And even, then you have all the trucks that brought the jelly and all the people in the jelly factory who did the work to make the jelly. And then you have the bread. Then you have the people who grew the fruit and picked the fruit, and that's really hard work, and they also were probably not paid enough. And then there's the bread, and the trucks that brought the bread from the bakery, and the trucks that took the flour to the bakery, and the people in the factory that ground the grain to make the flour, and the people that grew the grain. And I mean, even when you make this bread yourself, which I did, okay, brag a little bit, but even when you make the bread yourself, you had to go to the store where there were all those people that helped you get the flour. You had to have a source of clean water. You had to have some salt that somebody at some point got from the sea or from someplace. So none of this even touches on all of these people from all the different companies who built the store in the first place, the people who brought in the materials to do that, right down to that software designer who made the little robot lady who says, "Help is on the way." Help has been on the way from everywhere. So yes, when the bread and the peanut butter and the jelly finally got to you and you made that sandwich all by yourself, think of all the people in all the places that helped you make that sandwich. And beyond that, think of the sunshine and the rain and the soil and the weather conditions and all the people and all the things depending on each other to get to the point that you can make your sandwich. And then think of everything else you do and use in a normal day and all the people you never meet who helped you with all of that. We can be independent as we learn how to do things for ourselves. And that's a great thing, but we never do anything all by ourselves that isn't a part of the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. Happy Interdependence Day.
Good morning. For today's meditation, let yourself first find a comfortable position, a position in which your body can be balanced and your spine straight. Begin with a deep, comfortable breath, shifting your attention to your heart space, and imagine breathing in and out of your heart. Allow your breath to be deep and slow. Allow your breath to be soft and kind. In this moment of sacred presence, I reflect on the long journey of my own becoming. A newborn spark of life, an infant body, every breath celebrated and supported, every need nurtured, that newborn spark of life becoming me, embedded in a network of human community, a community still learning the ways of living and loving. The language that I spoke, the stories that I learned, The songs I sang, the games I played, the food I ate. All of these gifts received. All of these gifts to use in crafting the pathway of my life. Step by step and season by season, the energies of life that flowed in me and through me and as me. I learned to navigate them all. I learned stories that inspired me to learn and grow. Yet I also learned stories of fear and separation, self and other, good and bad, success and failure. I learned of a world separate from me, built on scarcity, a life guided by struggle, and a kind of freedom rooted in conflict and aggression. I have grown weary of relating to the world that once held me so close through walls of fear and grasping. Today I pause. Today I envision a world more beautiful and the kind of freedom that my heart has longed for. In beloved community, I have found a mirror that reveals the unique pattern of my becoming as part of a greater whole. My living is a thread in the fabric of being. My life is a gift that the living whole gives itself through me. My voice is part of the creation of a world of healing and compassion. My path is part of a new vision of what freedom can be. Today, I choose to join the great symphony of oneness. I raise my voice in celebration of interbeing, interconnection, and interdependence. In this sacred moment, I center in my breath. Breathing in, I remember the oneness that is my source. Breathing out, I celebrate the interdependence that is our hope, our healing, and our true freedom.
This is another reading from Jessica Purple Rodela. My prayer today is that I learn to stay a war atheist. My prayer today for each of us, for everyone in this nation, in this world, is that we all learn to be war atheists. I don't believe in war anymore. My prayer today is that I never again succumb to fear. Fear which seduces me to believe that the expediency of violence provides a permanent answer. Fear which clouds my judgment and convinces me firmly that violence is a fix. Fear which tempts me to justify violence. teasing its response from defensive toward offensive action, fear which feeds the lie, allowing us to collaborate with violent euphemisms that bury our need to count the victims of our violence. Fear is the ultimate weapon of mass destruction. Fear is the ultimate cause of war. I just don't believe in it anymore. Yes, I stay a war atheist. I pray that we not be fooled by the lure of a violent cure. Let us instead reach toward healing. Let us resolve to heal the world, to teach the world, and wield only the sword of truth. Let us arm ourselves with satyagraha. Satyagraha, Gandhi's word for his steady, assertive, nonviolent rebellion. Satyagraha, meaning soul force. Soul force. Satyagraha defeats our fears. Satyagraha reclaims our courage. Satyagraha encourages our creativity. Satyagraha informs our hopes. My prayer today is for Satyagraha. This prayer of the war atheist. Let us lay down that sword and shield. I ain't gonna believe in war no more. Amen.
On our day of independence, we celebrate our country's pride. But there's something about this holiday I never could abide. When we sing the national anthem, those bursting bombs I can't ignore. Then we set off fireworks as if to simulate a war. What is the glory in explosions that deafen ears and frighten pets, that threaten fire in times of drought and make us flashbacks for our vets? Don't get me wrong, I'm patriotic, but understand me when I say I prefer to love my country in a much more peaceful way. I will fly the stars and stripes, I'll even march in a parade, after which I might go swimming and then picnic in the shade. I'll show my gratitude for living in the land of the brave and free, a place that welcomes and embraces even pacifists like me. What is the glory in explosions that deafen ears and frighten pets, that threaten fire in times of drought and make us flashbacks for our vets? Don't get me wrong, I'm patriotic, but understand me when I say I prefer to love my country in a much more peaceful way. I prefer to love my country in a much more peaceful way.
I'd like to say thank you to Emily Cates. When I was in touch with her to get permission to share that song, I found out that she has, in the last recent time, become involved with another Unitarian Universalist church and is in fact singing that song at their service today up in North Arkansas. It was wonderful. We get permission for the music that we use on these, I'm not going to call it a webcast, but streaming services, because we have to be mindful of copyrights and do the thing that's right. So thank you, Emily Cates, for that song. Thank you, Larry, for the meditation, and Susan for the perfect story. On this day that theoretically marks the birth of the United States of America, I'm struck with the fact that just a few hundred years ago, the Eastern Hemisphere did not know that the Western Hemisphere, or these continents of South and North America, were even here. Just a few hundred years ago. The concept of the earth being round rather than flat was documented as early as the 5th century BC, but the vast land masses that lie across the ocean were not yet known to the east. Now, almost immediately upon becoming aware of its existence, the white faces arriving on Western shores began efforts to dominate and impose their own conventions upon those they encountered. Initially, dependent on goods and finances from abroad, they also very quickly became dependent upon the labor of others. Dependence. The state in which all humans are born into the world. We cannot survive without others. The childhood of people, communities, nations go through these initial stages of generally being dependent. Others try to guide, teach, and yes, impose their views, rules, customs, and quite often control on us. We're rather helpless beginners when we're beginners, novice, naive, nascent, and the guardrails are provided by something external. Dependent is the earliest stage of life and maturity. Emotional responses are dependent on stimuli. Innate spirituality is shaped and nurtured by outside influences and experiences. So in that way, its identity, our innate spirituality's identity, sense of belonging and approval are dependent on others. I think it is in that dependence model that a great deal of teamwork has been taught over the millennia. In social systems, educational systems, military systems, religious systems, people were discouraged from independent thought and action. In team sports, athletes are still largely mandated to think of the team first, follow the team captain, coach, quarterback, whoever in the system has been given the authority to set the course for behavior. Now, bear with me, I'm not knocking teamwork or the value of good leadership. I'm simply pointing toward models we have employed for many, many generations that cultivate dependence. In a healthy system, we are taught that we don't have to be afraid. Those upon whom we depend are trustworthy, letting us know they are there to teach, help, support, accompany, and encourage us as we learn to walk, talk, maybe ride a bicycle or swim or do something else that is dangerous to start alone, but for which we eventually have to have our own capacity. Once one feels mastery or confidence in their ability to stand on their own, they begin to desire independence. Some more than others, some sooner than others, some more defiantly than others, but everyone likes to feel capable. Of course, the same was true of the United States. July 4th, 1776, the freshly forming nation made its Declaration of Independence. Winning that independence took a war. The battles were many. The costs were high. Trying to establish one's independence from any dominating system is not easy. Whether it's our guardians or a church or a government. So many grow up in systems that do not do well at letting go. Far too often, people are surprised to discover that well past their childhood, well past adolescence and young adulthood, on up in years, they are still striving to free themselves from some aspect of a system of thought, a system of dependence imposed long ago or long before. Maybe it's the way that thoughts want to tend without being redirected to something that we might have learned since then. We have a default that was well planted. Maybe it's being haunted with concerns rooted long ago, early on, about ultimate things. Life, death, how to be in the world, how to move in the world, how to survive in the world, how to fit, belong, feel significance in the world. Maybe it is struggling to find a sense of approval and mastery, confidence, being worthy and empowered. Feeling safe, recognizing one's own specialness. Anything that was denied them by systems that were less than safe, that didn't nurture that independence, that might not have been so healthy, or encouraging, or strengthening. In our ripe old age, we can find that we are still tangled in systems like that because of what we grew up believing. We will mostly find, or we are most likely to find, little argument with the idea that many systems, if not most, and maybe even all systems, are fouled up, flawed just like humans. During the Vietnam War, when I was growing up, many lost faith in the government. When various church leaders were exposed as particularly broken individuals, or sometimes that brokenness experienced by oneself, things that went unexposed, People began to lose faith in religious institutions. Of course, I could go on naming the systems, schools, businesses, clubs, on and on, that over time were shown to be riddled with flaws and abuse. But I don't imagine there's any need for that. You get it. Two steps forward, one step back. Resistance to conventions set the direction for a number of generations. When that pattern began, the move was to promote individualism. As we began to be resistant to those conventions, we were self-actualization, finding your own voice, becoming empowered was crucial. It was important. That work is necessary until we do enough of it to grow past it a little bit. It was by questioning the authority of others, thinking for oneself, that recognition and status were beginning to be granted. Some people began to seek out those places and groups and institutions that would support having a mind of one's own, looking out for number one. I have a sweatshirt from a few decades back that was sold here in this congregation. On it is a flaming question mark, and it says, "The answer is to question." Those ideas aren't invalid, but they're not the end of the journey. In this tradition, we began teaching children a song about being unique and unrepeatable. Many were coming to this faith tradition because here they were finding encouragement to be themselves, discover their own spirits and spiritual journey, work through some of those challenges of getting free from dependence, even in thought. Here we endeavored to provide tools for finding one's own way out from under the oppression of old patterns and systems. Here we were encouraged to find our gifts, recognize that we are special, that life has chosen us to be what we are uniquely constituted to be. Our true selves, called to what is ours to do, be what is ours to be, live our light and shadows. We learn to value our own perspectives, trust our experience and honor our feelings, use our voices, take care of ourselves no less than we do others. But that move to independence is not the end of maturity. It's not the end of spiritual growth. And we've come to a time and place at which we are being asked once again to exit the habits and patterns our society molded, this time to celebrate individualism. We are being asked to mature psychologically, spiritually, socially, emotionally, a bit more. At the same time, more and more of the flaws of our systems are being exposed. The reality of how deeply connected we are is coming more and more clear, that all life is deeply connected. That connectedness becomes in sharper relief against all those flaws. That preoccupation with the well-being specifically of ourselves and our own families is necessarily facing challenges. As life continues to unfold before us, evolve. As our interdependence becomes undeniable, we are being called on to complete that developmental stage of learning our own value, knowing that we are worthy and capable. It's time to realize our chosenness, claim the power that has been given us, and trust that it is in fact ours. Then allow ourselves to expand, open, feel the universe flowing through us in palpable ways, and feel it flowing through the person next to us in line at the grocery store. That same life force, that same essential beingness. This interdependence isn't just a lovely thought. It was easy to think of it that way when we first put it in our principles, I think. But it's necessary, spiritually mature awareness that we are not alone, that we don't matter more than the other people around us. Finding that as deeply visceral a level of walking through the world, that every single other life matters as well. There are ways we can strengthen the threads of this web, every thread of this web. The global village is right here. Community first is an idea that some cultures, not as permeated by Western ideas of individualism, have found ways of having circular support. Community first does not have to cost your worth, your dignity, or your power. When we actually do the work behind this transformation, we experience an even greater freedom, more empowerment, newfound fortitude, resilience, peace of mind, and easing of stressors we would not have predicted. In this transition, we simply recognize even more profoundly the worth, dignity, and power of others. As I started to mention, there's some beautiful models of circular teaching, where I teach you, you teach somebody else, they teach me. Cooperative organization. They're a bit different than what we've become accustomed to. And I'm excited to see what other outside the box models and approaches people quite a bit younger than I will generate. Creativity is alive and afoot. We are dependent upon the brilliance of others. It can hide in plain sight sometimes. That inner peace and contentment that accompanies knowing that to your toes, that natural, all-encompassing force is with you. It's in you. that the very spirit of life supports you. It's without imitation. It can't be faked. Although acting as if isn't a bad plan. Acting as if until it becomes our nature, until we do grow into what James Fowler in his Stages of Faith development would call universalized understanding. The things embodied by our greatest spiritual teachers of all time. That new freedom is a belonging and feeling loved that we all long for. I very much hope you have or soon find that knowing, each one of you, each one of us. I very much hope that we repeatedly and consistently find that we are here for one another, so that there are spirits with skin on them whose support we feel. Each of us feels as well. Dependence to independence to interdependence. It is the journey of spiritual, emotional, social life maturity. On its birthday, I want to cheer our nation on to that maturing as well. Freedom and justice for all, inalienable rights, transformation. Richard Rohr, who I call on a lot, said, "We can only transform people to the degree that we have been transformed. We can only lead others as far as we ourselves have gone. We have no ability to affirm or to communicate to another person that they are good or special until we know it strongly ourselves. Once we get our own narcissistic fix, as I call it, then we can stop worrying about being center stage. We then have plenty of time and energy to promote other people's empowerment and specialness. Only beloved people can pass on belovedness." End quote. There is never a need to worry that someone will outshine us. It's not a competition. We all need to shine the brightest we can in our own unique way. It's not possible for there to be too much light in the world. So shine and let shine. Shine on through your love, through your courage, with your eyes on the horizon, heading always for freedom land, with justice for all and love that abounds. Shine on. Happy Interdependence Day.
It's for everyone. Everyone's worthy of love. Every broken life will find some light when love gives them hope. Hope is for everyone. We rise to give life to hope. Every spirit breathes with one deep need Justice is for everyone. Tempered with mercy, it'll grow. Everybody shares the burden. Every justice makes peace. Peace that finds us, set our minds to kindness and joy. Joy is for everyone. Every soul longs to know joy. Every mother, child's courageous smile speaks joy, born of love. Love is for everyone. Love is for everyone.
I want to invite Ms. Susan to join me in a responsive reading from Frederick Douglass. She will be leading the congregational part, and you are invited to say that with us as well. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing up the ground.
They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its waters.
This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle.
Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will.
Find out what people will submit to, and you have found out the exact amount of injustice which will be imposed upon them.
The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress.
This next reading comes, thank you, Ms. Susan. This next reading comes from A. Powell Davies. A. Powell Davies was the minister of All Souls Church Unitarian in Washington, D.C. from 1944 until his death in 1957. He was a prolific author of theological books and sermon collections. He came to national prominence in the U.S. through his liberal activism, advocating civil rights for African Americans and women, and ethical stands against post-war nuclear proliferation, and the methods employed by the American government during the era of McCarthyism. Davies said, "We must push forward to a new and deeper understanding of the spiritual, beginning with a full acceptance of it. The spiritual that demands we deal justly in all our relationships, that we cast aside prejudice and all escapes and all excuses. The spiritual that calls us from sloth to effort and endurance, and from easy purposes to difficult aims and high endeavors. the spiritual that speaks in conscience, the spiritual that says the soul can only grow by truth and love and righteousness, and that this is written in the laws of ultimate reality, the laws of God. Yes, and the spiritual that says that nothing that we can do will be availing until the new age has found its soul. For that is what is missing. No civilization can endure without the faith that gives it nurture. And no civilization can be built except by men and women of soul. We carry this light. Again, I say, shine on through your love, through your courage. Shine on with your eyes on the horizon, heading always for freedom land, with justice for all and abounding love. Happy 4th of July. Happy Interdependence Day. Go in peace. Go in love. Ashe, amen, blessed be.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled